Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to, well, my house and one of my rooms that I have here. This is my parlor that I'm in currently. We're going to do a review of a new guitar that I just purchased. Actually, it just came in the mail probably not even 20 minutes ago. So I don't do this often. I tried to do it a couple of years ago on my page, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, I couldn't get into it. But this new guitar that I just got in, I feel compelled 100% to talk about how great this guitar truly is right out of the box. Okay? So, we're going to do a guitar review today. What guitar are we going to be reviewing? Well, we're going to be reviewing this classic SG Epiphone P90. So, we're going to talk about some of the specs. We're going to talk about, I'm going to go into great detail about why I think it's so fantastic right out of the box. You're going to hear me say that probably so many times you're probably going to get annoyed with me saying it. I do apologize, but that's how I feel about the guitar. So let's talk about the specs real quick, and then we'll get into some other features of it. So this again is the Epiphone SG Classic Inverness Green P90 single coil pickup guitar. That's not a mouthful. I don't know what is. So the wood is almost entirely mahogany. Some people have speculated that there's a few things kind of mixed in besides the mahogany. I mean, in today's manufacturing world, I'd say that's maybe a possibility, but if you go and look up the specs online, it pretty much just says mahogany, so we're going to roll with that. As far as the pickguard, you've got the classic, what is called a bat wing. I also have my other SG Epiphone out, kind of for comparison as well, but we'll get into that one here in a minute. So this is what's described as 60s era design. It has like a kind of the taper neck of the design, and also the bell headstock is very what's referred to as 60s era kind of design, kind of a throwback to that time period. So I want to talk about the weight, because immediately as soon as I got this box, I was almost like a child. I could not wait. I could not wait to get this thing out of the box and look at it. So as you can see, I mean, I'm barely holding it with one hand. It is very, very, very light. It's a very light guitar, much like the SG that we're going to get to here in a minute, my other Epiphone SG. I'd say I don't have the exact poundage of my SG special over here, but I would imagine this feels slightly heavier, but not by much. According to the weight specs, this is 13 pounds, 13 and a half pounds. Again, I'm not an expert on weighing guitars, but if I had to take a wild stab in the dark, I'd say my SG special over there probably weighs in at about 11 or 12 pounds. This one's about 13 and a half. That could be because this one has a little bit more gearage attached to it, with knobs. And, well, to be honest, this is just, in my opinion, it's a better Epiphone SG. But we'll get to that as well. So again, as far as weight goes, as soon as I picked up the box, for a moment I thought, oh my goodness, they have sent me a child's guitar. Or maybe inside is a picture of my guitar and I've been scammed or duped. Nope. It's just very light. It's very, very, very light, which some people prefer, some people do not. Depends on what kind of stage musician you are. Some people like the real heaviness. I have my Epiphone Les Paul over here, which weighs 1,000 pounds. Anybody who's ever played that up on stage will agree with me that that's just a very, very, very heavy guitar, which if you're playing short sets, not a big deal, but if you're up there for long periods of time, that heavy Les Paul does get a bit cumbersome over time. So I do appreciate how light this is. Again, you can tell I'm just barely even holding on, and this thing is light as a feather. Apart from light as a feather, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. That color is just stunning. Again, unlike the SG special over here, which has the very like bright, shiny finish, this is matted, so this is a little bit more flat, which I actually like. I prefer that, to be honest with you. With the kind of bright, shiny design of the SG special over here, you can see every single, arm rub and skin that comes off on there and everything else. With this one, I would imagine even after hours of playing it outside in hot sun, there wouldn't be too much, kind of skin and oil grease that would come off on this. I wouldn't think so, but we'll find out at my upcoming gig. All right, so again, as far as the weight goes, I love this. I love light guitars. I think again, it's just less cumbersome when you're up on stage performing. I prefer that. Some people don't, and to each their own. So again, as far as weight goes in comparison to the SG Special over here, it's pretty close. Again, this one feels a little bit heavier, but not by much. So let's talk about the P90 single coil pickups. Now, I have been playing humbuckers for the most part, most of my career. In fact, I'd say I've just recently really started to dive in and understand the difference between humbuckers and P90s. This, as far as I know, is my first P90 guitar. I have lots of guitars. Of course, my SG over here is a humbucker. The best way that I would describe it, and some of you out there may disagree with me, humbuckers tend to be a lot muddier sounding, kind of more guttural, more throaty, whereas the P90s are very bright. And for years, I've been complaining to my guitar techs and sound guys, man, why do I sound so muddy? And I'll tell you, that P90 Special over here, I'm sorry, my apologies, the SG Special over here, although a fantastic guitar and very light, and it's a great guitar, don't get me wrong, it's very muddy. It's got a very, very muddy sound to it. It just sounds muddy all the time. No matter what pickup you put it on, no matter what amp you play it through, it just sounds muddy. This one with the P90s, it's just bright. It's just bright. There's no other better word to describe the sound, in my opinion, other than these are just bright sounding pickups, which I really appreciate. And again, to each their own. Everybody has different needs and wants and, you know, specs that they enjoy. For me, the P90 brightness is just, it's unmatched. And these just sound, I don't know, to me they just sound more professional. They sound like something that you would find on a professional stage with professional musicians, you know, whatever that means, right? So, again, P90 single coil, which is different than the humbuckers over here, as you can see. Just different wounding of the coils and different tightness and various other things. Again, I'm still learning about all that myself, so if I sound like I'm an idiot, that's because I still am. All right, so let's talk about the SG Special over here in comparison. Again, the weight differences are pretty similar. Certainly the knobs are different. On the P90 Inverness here, you have 4 control knobs, whereas with the SG Special, you only have 2. And some people, again, that's a big deal. Some people, that's not. It just all depends on what type of musician you are, what you like and what you don't like, what your preferences are. I will say, and again, this could just be putting on points for style. The P90 Inverness here has very classic, what appear to be kind of like pearl tuning knobs. Again, everything's preference. Some people like that, some people don't. Some people think it matters, some people don't. I think it looks great with the guitar. I love those pearl tuning knobs. I think they just kind of add to the throwback era of the 60s time period. It's just a beautiful, beautiful guitar, top to bottom, back to front. And as soon as I unboxed it, I was like a kid in the Christmas Story, and I had my Red Ryder BB gun. So, so again, I really appreciate the brightness of the P90s versus the humbuckers. Not knocking the humbuckers or anything. There's a place and a time for those, just like anything else. So that's just kind of a quick comparison between the SG Special and this one. I'm sure I could probably get a little bit more in depth if I wanted to. But for the time being, I'm just going to turn on the amp here and just kind of let you hear what I'm hearing from the brightness of the P90s. So I've got an orange crushed little practice amp here. We'll just throw it on. I'm not going to put on like a concert for you or anything. I'm just going to let you hear the tone. So we'll just start with just the clear channel pickup. And I'll tell you, this came out of the box 100% ready to go. And by that, I don't think I've ever bought a guitar in my life where it was already almost in tune to the tuning that I use. It's almost like it was, I don't know, like it was meant to be. I literally took it out of the box, and I keep all my guitars in a half step down, so E flat. And this was almost an E flat. Like it was just a smidge off. And I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow. It's like, oh, it was like divinely inspired almost, that it was in the tuning that I always keep on my guitars. So basically, as I said, right out of the box, I mean, literally, the strings are in good shape. The tuning was almost already where it needed to be. This guitar sounds great. You could literally unbox this, tune it up, and then go hit the stage and go play with it like right now, today. And I'm very impressed by that because there's not a lot of guitars that can kind of make that claim. Like the SG Special over here. Again, fantastic guitar. I'm not knocking it, but it needed some work. It needed some things tuned up. I had to take it into my guitar tech, and he had to, kind of just do some tweaking to it, if you will, before it was ready to go. This one, literally, right out of the box, just ready to go. Ready to go. So let's crank the gain a little bit. So again, that's on the, let's go to the next one, pickup. Again, just there's something about it that just seems brighter and less muddier. I play a lot of blues, which some people might say, well, muddy is good for the blues, and to an extent I would agree with that. But it seems like the SG Special over here is so muddy with those humbuckers that, I don't know, I like that bright tone. I want it to be a little bit brighter. That's kind of what I was looking for in general. And I feel like this guitar just has it in spades. Again, just brighter. So, as I said before, I just cannot say enough great things about this guitar. If you're looking for a solid, steady guitar, straight out of the box, ready to go, this thing is literally everything you need. I cannot speak enough hyperbole about this guitar. It's absolutely fantastic. I own many guitars. I own a lot of Epiphone, which, everybody has different opinions on that. Some people say the Gibsons can't be beat. Other people swear by Epiphones. I can rattle off plenty of bands that play Epiphones, professional, well-known bands. But again, just out of the box, ready to go, just 100%. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't match that, really. I'm just very impressed with it. If you're a mid-level guitarist or professional guitarist or even a new guitarist, I would highly suggest adding this to your repertoire as far as whatever you're playing, whether it's blues or, funk or jazz or fusion, whatever it is. You want to add this guitar to your repertoire. I mean, you really do. It's just fantastic.